Hi everyone, and welcome to part 3 of the series where I draw characters based off of Elden Ring weapons. Today I'm leaning fully into From Software aesthetics to draw a nasty little guy based off the weapon Nightrider Glaive. Here we go! So, first I'm going to start off with the in-game weapon description because that's usually what I start with when drafting these character designs. The Nightrider Glaive is, quote, a jet black glaive with a blade as weighty as a bludgeon. Weapon of the Knights Cavalry who ride funeral steeds. This glaive excels at weighty slash attacks that crash into foes, making it a powerful weapon even on horseback, end quote. So, yeah, initial thoughts. Based off that description, you'd probably be expecting a really buff knight, maybe even a horse, right? Right? Wrong. First of all, you will never catch me drawing a horse. I don't think I'm capable of it, and it scares me. But to be honest, this weapon and description influenced me to draw something kind of scary and use dark colors, but that's kind of it. Independent of all that, all I knew was that I wanted to draw something scrungly. And to me, scrungly is improbably long and skinny limbs and horrible posture. Thus this pose that I got to draw. Very fun. Love to see my posture in a character. It's awesome. What am I talking about? Posture. So obviously I wanted to play around a bit more with proportions for this one. Which I haven't really done in previous videos. I think that the proportions of the characters I've drawn before are, at least for me, fairly realistic, like as realistic as I'm gonna get. But for this one I did branch out a little bit, and I think it's looking pretty good so far. For the clothing, I didn't really have any strong ideas, even after making a Pinterest board. As I've said in the past, I make Pinterest boards for all these characters, and this one has like more than 6 images on it, and none of them had anything to do with clothes. It was all just like general aesthetics and vibes that I wanted. So I kind of just BS'd my way through this as I went, while I was drawing the initial sketch, and then ran with it. These things do happen sometimes. Given the vibes of the pose, I thought that it made a lot of sense to make everything very tattered. So they're wearing a very ripped toga, if it is a toga, I don't know. And a multi-layered cloak, which is also not looking so good. It's definitely seen better days. Then I added some likely nonsensical armor on one leg, one arm, and a shoulder, just to add some variety in the design, because let's be real, having your left leg covered in armor, it's not going to save you from anything. So it's purely aesthetic because I wanted to do it. Then just like the other 2 characters, I added a mask. I sort of realized as I was drawing this character that I'd be covering up the face again, but masks are so cool, I could not resist. So here we are with another mask. It's my life, and I get to decide how characters are drawn. This mask was originally based off the wings of the Deathrite bird, which is another enemy in Elden Ring, but in the end, it sort of turned into ambiguous antlers. I didn't get the wing part down so good. I'm not mad about that, I just wish the design made sense in a way that I had explained. Lore-wise, I can't explain this. I can't explain the way it looks. Also, with the mask, at a certain point, I decided that the antlers / wings, whatever it is, were a little bit too polished to match the rest of the design. So I drew some hair strands interweaving throughout to add a bit of messiness. It's just like everything else is tattered and like kind of broken down and not looking so good. So to have this like pristine mask, headdress thing, whatever it is, just didn't really fit the vibe, so I had to find a way to make it messier, but I didn't really want to change the overall shape, so I went with the hair strands. Finally, I decided to add some broken shackles to one of the wrists and one of the ankles, which I think is a really nice touch because the design choice will end up having some interesting lore implications. That's right, I built lore into a character this time, can you believe it? In terms of the color palette, I went with mainly dark and muted colors for the clothes, and then for the skin, I decided on a lovely sickly green. I definitely wanted this character to be more inhuman. Like, were they ever human? We don't know. We can only guess. So the like really improbable proportions and skin tone, I think, help with that sort of characterization. There we go. Speaking of characterization, I'm now going to talk about that and lore. So, as I've said in previous videos, my thoughts are that the users of the weapons, each weapon, gain special abilities by using them, but also face certain consequences which are unique to every weapon. First, backing up, I want to say this character's name is Ensa the Wanderer, which will make more sense once I explain more of their story. At the time that Ensa is pictured here, they've just escaped from Big Bad Supermax Extra Max jail. Name is pending, but needless to say, other people in this world absolutely do not want them to be out and about, but they've escaped somehow and are about to become everyone's problem. My favorite type of character, to be honest. I don't think Ensa is evil, but rather feared because the glaive makes them unkillable, which was the reason they were locked up instead of killed in the first place. To clarify, I said in the last video that these weapons offer their users like quasi-immortality, but they can still be killed, so I guess they're not really immortal. Yeah. And each weapon can only pass to a new user when the previous user dies, or more likely is killed by someone who wants the weapon, let's be honest. Well, since Ensa is not only immortal, but also unkillable, they've been alive since these weapons were forged. And in fact, they've been alive for so long that no one knows where they came from, thus the title of Wanderer. Given the nature of the glaive, though, it's likely they had some sort of background with horses. Who knows? As I said before, you will not catch me drawing a horse, so it just has to be an imagined backstory. The glaive's powers are nature-based, that's what I've decided, which means that Ensa's special immortality is derived from other life and the natural world. Basically, they're able to pull energy from other living things, which then bolsters their own life energy. It can't all be good though, of course, because I'm making this video, not anyone else. So, taking the energy from other things, you guessed it, it kills them. And the more Ensa uses these powers, the more it becomes part of who they are. At first, the touch of death is something they can activate consciously, but eventually they become unable to turn it off, and everything they touch dies. That's another reason why Ensa is also called the Wanderer. They're unable to put roots down anywhere, pun intended, because they literally kill anything they touch. Wow. Now at this point you might be asking why Ensa's not wearing more clothing since their exposed skin is lethal? Good question. That's because Ensa's been using this weapon for so long, written record does not exist of them, that long, that they're slowly but surely beginning to also destroy non-living or inorganic material as well. At the time they're pictured here, they aren't that far along in this process, but some of their clothing and even their flesh is beginning to disintegrate. Very fun stuff, I know. Good news for Ensa, this new development means they might actually be able to die at some point. But it's going to take a good long bit of time, so yeah. That's what I've got on the lore for Ensa the Wanderer, wielder of the Nightrider Glaive. Sorry if that got a little dark, but I feel like if I want to create characters that are literally unkillable, I have to also create some drawbacks, or else it's not interesting. Also completely unrelated, but in the least creepy way possible, I think Ensa's got some pretty nice lips. What do you think? I think they're nice. Oh, I haven't even drawn them yet. Okay, you'll have to wait for the lips. The lip reveal. So, yep, that's the lore. As I make these videos, I said this before, but as I make these videos, like each video, I talk more and more about the potential characterization for these characters and their lore and their backstory and all that. I really hope it's interesting because I like it a lot, but also sometimes I just have to stop and be like, wow, this is so silly. Like, I literally just said Ensa the Wanderer, wielder of the Nightrider Glaive. Like, what the hell? What? Like, am I taking these too seriously, or is it fun? I don't know, feedback appreciated, but for now, this is what I've got. So, at this point, I've designed 7 characters. 4 from the Flower series and 3 from this Weapon series, which might not seem like a lot because it's like 7 weeks of videos, I don't know, 7 characters. But for me, drawing so consistently has definitely been new, sad to say. And I think I've learned a lot about my character design process as I've been making these characters. The first 4, the flower designs, are definitely a lot brighter, and I don't want to say less like original, but I don't know if I put so much thought into the creative process as I am now, especially with not only creating a character that has a cool design, but also the design has interesting story implications, or lore or whatever in the universe that they're sort of based in. Yeah, so I guess I'm thinking more on that, which has been fun, but as I said, I'm not sure if it's interesting. I hope it's interesting. And at this point, I'm like, where am I going with all of this? Like, all these characters I'm creating, as I said, I want them sort of in different universes and like little clumps. So like flowers in one universe, weapons in another universe. And I think for now, I'm just enjoying the process of designing and thinking about a character. So they'll just stay contained in these little videos, and that's that. But I hope someday in the future I'll be able to pull these into a more cohesive piece of work, whether it's like writing or a story or something. Like I could throw these characters into a story if I ever write one, or you know, just like a multiverse of all the characters I've created. But that sounds like a lot of work, so I'm not gonna consider that right now. Yeah, I am babbling. I hope that all made sense, but that's just kind of my current thoughts on character design and what I'm doing with this YouTube channel. For now, I'm just having a good time and not worrying too much about the specifics, at least for me, because I am getting really specific, but like not as specific as I could get. Like I could get more specific. But yeah, I'm basically done with this character at this point. Yup, fade to character sheet. And I also want to throw in all the characters I've made together. So this is the Weapon series. Love them. They're awesome. And this is the Flower series. They look completely different, but still awesome. I really like the colors together. I'm super happy with the way that character designing has gone for me this past 7 videos, I suppose. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!